Welcome to The Outlet, an OTG production.
What's up, NBA fans? Welcome to another edition of The Outlet. With me, as always, Parth.
What's going on, Nick?
What's up, Parth? We're getting close to the end here. And today at number 2, we have the Golden State Warriors. Before we talk about the Warriors, here's a clip from last season.
Clippers here in the first half on a 12-4 run. Curry in on it, shakes ball out of his boots and hits a fallaway jump shot.
I remember watching this live, and I was like, oh, my God, I can't believe that happened, especially against Chris Paul.
Yeah, that was nasty. And that was on a ton of memes and GIFs.
Dude, the crazy thing is, like, with the audio, like, you can hear the Los Angeles Clippers crowd going crazy, like the people in the arena. And it was like a heavy Golden State crowd in Staples, which is weird.
It's pretty crazy, but even an average fan of the other teams got to celebrate that move. That was just disgusting.
Dude,
But I know
this is not like the first time this past season where he had a highlight, where Steph had a highlight clip against Chris Paul. We should play that other one too.
Curry splits the defense behind the back, fires a three. Oh, he puts it in.
This is easily my favorite highlight of the season. I think it was the play of the year by far. I don't know how he splits all those guys. Like, all right, the move is not that hard to do, but the way he did it between three guys and then turns around, maybe gets like a glimpse of the rim and just lets it go and drains it. And Steve Kerr's reaction is perfect.
Yeah, that's a tough move. He showcases all of his ball handling, and then he pulls that crazy shot. And like you said, he just has a great sense of where the rim is. He doesn't even necessarily get a good look at it.
Yeah, it's incredible. I don't know how Chris Paul did not steal that ball and then ended up on the highlight of the year.
Yeah, and Chris Paul's always one of the top guys with steals too. He's got quick hands. Tells you how good Steph Curry is. But let's talk about this ranking. You think it's a fair ranking for the Warriors?
Hell no. No, they should be number 1. They're coming off one of the best seasons in NBA history. They had one of the most dominant teams in NBA history last season in terms of metrics. I don't know how you have them ranked second. I think, in my opinion, they should be number 1.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like last year they just had so many things go right for them, and they had, like you said, one of the craziest seasons ever. So, and I just see obviously, the first team is Cavs right now, and I just don't see LeBron not winning the championship this year. So that's why I had to put the Cavs number 1.
One thing that doesn't really get talked about too much with the Golden State last season is that the NBA season everyone in the NBA was injury prone last year, and the Golden State Warriors managed to somehow not sustain any major injuries outside of David Lee getting hurt at the beginning of the season. This team was healthy throughout.
Yeah, so I mean, not to wish anything bad on the Warriors, since that's just unlikely to happen again.
Right, incredible luck that they had last season, but I think going in, with most of their roster returning, I think they should be the clear-cut number 1. But obviously, these are your rankings, and you don't see it that way.
Yeah, I mean, I do think it's close, though, and I do feel I disrespected them a little bit. But like I said, I just have this crazy feeling LeBron's definitely not losing the finals this year.
Dude, maybe Draymond Green will hear this and tweet at you.
I hope so. All right, let's talk about key returners for the Warriors. Obviously, MVP, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Harrison Barnes, a ton of guys coming from the bench. Who do you like to have a big season?
Well, I think Harrison Barnes has to take that next step for this team. He's playing basically for a contract. He's playing for a max contract. I think he turned down $60 million or $64 million from the Warriors just a couple of days ago. And so I assume him and his agent think someone will offer him the a max offer sheet. So I think that's an interesting dynamic too, because he's clearly playing for his contract. And then that sometimes players want to take more shots, put up better numbers, because that's obviously something to look at when you're negotiating a contract. And so maybe some of the chemistry that they had last season, it goes off the rails a little bit with Harrison playing for a contract. But I don't think he's that kind of guy. I think they'll be all right in terms of their chemistry, and he'll still be able to do great things in the role he's in. But I think his game will improve this season.
Yeah, I agree. He's on the contract year, so he's going to want to come out and have a big season. Like you said, he might want to take a few more shots, get a few more touches because he wants to showcase his skills and he wants that max contract. So he's going to definitely go out there and play hard. My key returner is going to be Steph Curry. The dude's crazy. We just showed 2 clips of him, his ball handling, his shooting ability off the charts. I just want to see what he does this year. I think he's going to have another big season.
Yeah, it's crazy how a couple of seasons ago when they renegotiated his contract or gave him an extension, I should say, I think he was coming off the ankle injury season. I think that's when he missed a majority of his games, and they bought him. They got him for such a steal of a contract.
Yeah, that's like one of the main reasons their roster's so good, because they have Steph Curry and MVP at such a great contract, and they're able to pick up these other guys and really fill out and have a nice balance to their team.
Right. I think Draymond Green, Iguodala, Bogut, and Thompson will be making more than Curry next season, which is absurd.
That's pretty crazy. They better hook him up, man. Let's talk about offseason moves. I know the Warriors didn't really do a whole lot. They added Jason Thompson. They drafted Kevin Looney. They lost David Lee and Justin Holiday. Any moves you do like?
As far as their additions go, I think Kevon Looney from UCLA was supposed to be a lottery pick, and then he had injury concerns. And I think he's hurt now.
He might be. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either, but I believe he's hurt right now with like a hip issue or something like that. And so I think him falling to them at the final pick in the first round, I think is a great pickup, great value pick for them. They basically swapped Jason Thompson for David Lee. David Lee's definitely a better player, but Jason Thompson just gives them that athletic presence that they'll probably need sometime throughout the season, just because Maurice Spates might go and miss an open dunk again, which was easily the highlight of the finals. For me at least. But I think he also gives them, he might be on like a 1-year deal. Jason Thompson, I think he has a couple of seasons left. But I know Festus Ezeli will be looking for a new deal here soon. And Jason Thompson just gives you that insurance just in case a deal with Ezeli can't be reached. But I think Ezeli will come back.
I like the pickup of Looney as well. I feel like he's a solid 3-and-D player instantly for them, as long as he gets healthy. They won't really need him to play, but he's maybe some good insurance. Maybe if Harrison Barnes does get a max contract offer from somebody else. And then David Lee, they lost him, but he wasn't playing, and they really helped him out and gave him a shot to actually play, and that's what David Lee wanted.
Right.
Justin Holiday actually had players last year, but obviously he's not going to play, so he wanted to be out as well.
I think he was a great player for them throughout the 82-game regular season. You need guys that'll come in and give guys like Curry, Barbosa, Thompson a blow here and there. And Justin Holiday did a good job of that throughout the season. You need all 15 guys during the regular season. He didn't play much in the playoffs, but his value was for the regular season. And so I think who do you think replaces him in terms of giving them spot minutes?
It'll be tough because, Levy, you're correct, and Looney's not going to play early in the season. Then I'm not really sure because they picked up Chris Babb. I don't really know much about him, but maybe he could pick up some minutes.
Yeah, they'll definitely need someone throughout the season that can give all of their big-time players just a blow here and there for a couple of games.
Yeah, because that's one reason they're so successful last season, because they had so much depth and they're able to give their players sufficient rest and have the backups come in and play sometimes even better than the starters.
And the thing is, you don't think about that being important, but in the West, where seeding is incredibly important, especially this season with the top 6 being really great, you want that 1 or 2 seed, and so you can't really drop down that much in terms of level of play anywhere throughout the regular season, just because, as we saw during the regular season last year, I think the Rockets didn't even play one night and they dropped from 2 to 5. And so if it's that close, you need your backups and reserve players to play a crucial role throughout the season.
Yeah, exactly. And like we mentioned earlier, they didn't really have any huge injuries. And one reason is because they're able to keep everyone's minutes low and have the backups come in and play. So that's one one thing that really helped the Warriors. So they'll want to do it again this year. What do you think is the X factor for the Warriors this season?
Well, I'd say the X factor last year was health. They have the chemistry, and they stayed healthy. Bogut stayed healthy, who's been notoriously injury prone. Steph didn't have any ankle issues, and so I think it's the same this season. It'll be their health. They're a dominant team, and they proved it last season. They were in the top 2 in offensive and defensive rating. They played the fastest. They had the most points per game, and they finished with 67 wins last season. They were a dominant team. And so in order to continue that dominance, I don't think they'll be as good as they were last year. But I don't think 67 wins is in reach, but I think they could easily win 60 games this year. But they just have to stay healthy to do it.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with the point of health. Just being, like you said, Bogut stayed healthy. He's always injured. They had Curry. His ankles were fine all season, and no real injuries that had anybody miss significant time. So they can keep that. And then they just kind of don't try to live up to last season. They just have to go out and perform for this year, because getting 67 wins is going to be tough in the West. But like I would agree that 60 is definitely possible.
One thing I'd keep an eye out for is Festus Ezeli, just because he has missed a lot of time due to injury as well. And so I could definitely see something like Bogut getting injured, Ezeli coming in, and Ezeli getting injured too. And I think that would really hurt this team as far as their rim protection, because Mo Spades isn't a rim protector. I don't think Jason Thompson is a feared rim protector either. But Bogut and Ezeli are 2 of the premier, especially Bogut. He really changes a lot of shots. People don't shoot a great percentage at the rim when he's in the paint. And Ezeli is a scary dude. And so he's I think he has a little bit of the intimidation factor going on when he's in the game, as you saw during, like, he went toe-to-toe with Mozgov in the finals for a lot of minutes. And so those 2 could possibly get hurt, and I think that would really drop the Golden State Warriors out of like the elite level in the West to maybe just 2 elites instead of 3.
What I was going to say, and then as well, like if you play small ball a lot and you have the smaller guys banging with the bigger dudes, there's always a chance for injury come out of that as well.
Correct.
But let's talk best case scenario for the Warriors.
Repeat, back to back.
Yeah, if they could just repeat last season, and the fact that Steph Curry wins MVP and then they win the finals again, and then they make my ranking look bad, that'd probably be best case scenario. Worst case scenario.
Worst case scenario, I mean, it might sound crazy, but this team could lose in the first round of the playoffs. If you end up with seeds 3 through 6, that first round matchup will be insanely tough. And then you never know. Two seasons ago, I think it was Golden State versus the Clippers, I want to say, and Bogut was hurt that series. And then I think the Clippers won in 7. And so something like that could easily happen again. This team is better than the team they were 2 years ago, but if you don't have one of your key cogs for a series like that against DeAndre or Blake, I think a first round exit could be possible.
Yeah, I definitely would agree. Any team could really lose in the West in the first round. That just tells you how good the West is. And last year they also had some nice breaks. I think every point guard they faced was injured.
Yeah, Drew Holiday, he's still not healthy. I think a report just came out a couple days ago where he's only playing 15 minutes a game. That's his minute restriction to start the season. So he was down for New Orleans. Mike Conley, I think, was dealing with that broken face that he suffered in the series before. So he was iffy throughout the entire series. He played well, but I mean, he wasn't 100%. And then
Patrick Beverly
was gone. Demo was gone. The Houston Rockets were just a beat-up team. And then, of course, Cleveland, they lost Love, Kyrie, Anderson Varejao. They didn't really have anyone besides LeBron.
Yeah. So I think they definitely caused some nice breaks. So I don't know if they'll be able to catch those breaks this year. Well, let's go on to the truth. What emoji do you have for us today, Parth?
Well, we're going to pick the umbrella with rain coming down on it, and that's what happens when you play the Warriors. You better have an umbrella because these guys will shoot from anywhere on the court, and they're always in range. And come on now, they're Splash Brothers.
Exactly. If Curry and Thompson both catch fire, you're probably not winning that game.
Thompson's 37-point quarter was, I think, probably one of the most played and most iconic images of the season this past year. It's funny how Golden State had so many of those moments. They really had a special season.
Definitely a special season. And like you said, that quarter, that game by Clay, that was crazy.
Yeah, it was. So we did some OTG awards, which you guys should definitely check out on the site. And two of the four writers picked Klay Thompson's 37-point quarter as their WTF moment of the year. So definitely check that out.
Definitely huge season for the Warriors. So this is a dumb question. Are you going to watch the Warriors on League Pass?
No, I don't think it's that dumb of a question, because they do have 25 nationally televised games. And I think those will all be must-sees. But maybe I'll watch a couple of League Pass games here and there if they do play an exciting team. So let's say, for example, Miami goes into Golden State and that ends up being a League Pass game. I'll definitely tune into that. But I think majority of like the big time games they'll be on. So you'll definitely probably catch them at least once a week on national TV.
That is true. Well, the one thing I like about the Warriors, they play on the West Coast, so I can always catch them as a late game. And they obviously are fun to watch.
Right. Yeah, definitely. 2 years ago, I would have said, hey, this is my number one League Pass team because they weren't at the level they are now in terms of national popularity. And so they probably didn't have that many national TV games. But now, I mean, everyone knows who the Warriors are. Everyone wants to watch them. So they're going to be on national TV. And you don't need League Pass to watch them.
Yeah, that's very true. So a lot of fans catch them. Steph Curry's American sweetheart right now. So would you rather watch Game of Thrones or the Warriors?
I've never seen Game of Thrones. All of my friends are always like, hey, man, you got to watch this show. And then I see some things about it and I hear some things about it. I'm like, all right, this maybe sounds interesting. And then I always go back to, man, I'm not trying to watch dragons having sex. And so that's when I think of Game of Thrones, that's what I think of. So I'll probably watch the Warriors, but I mean, I feel like if I do end up watching Game of Thrones, like catching an episode or something, I'll be hooked. So there's always a chance for that. But as for right now, we'll go with the Dubs.
Okay. The Game of Thrones is a great show. That's my girl Arya, but I'm still going to go with the Warriors. All right. Thank you guys for listening. And a hint for our next team, they're my favorites to win the finals.